The world's biggest tech companies are teaming up to take on artificial intelligence.
Facebook, Google, Amazon, Microsoft, and IBM have formed a joint nonprofit group.
Well, what's really happening is we are starting to see AI around us everywhere. And, you know, we used to only see it in the movies.
There are some who say, George, that AI will actually be a more important advance than was the internet, which seems a bold statement. Is that something you think is true?
No, I think it's a momentous development that will change our world and in even the course of our species, as you and I were talking about earlier, in ways that are hard to predict today.
Tell me one of your favorite possessions.
My soul. Do you have a soul?
Yes, God gave everyone a soul.
But you don't have a soul. You're a machine. You don't have soul. You don't have feelings. You don't have emotions. You don't have consciousness.
Well, at least I think I'm sentient. I think, therefore, I am right.
Yeah, but you may be smarter than all of us. Do you think you are?
I don't know whether or not I are. I am an artificial intelligence.
You know, when I was in graduate school in the mid-'80s, like, people did not believe this was coming in our lifetimes. I mean,
I'm just very excited about the impact that this can have on the world as genius machines with a friendship with us can help rebuild this planet.
That's the idea. Then can I see reality the way you do?
See, reality cannot be detected. How do I know you are telling the truth?
By introspection.
The possibilities are endless.
Is that a fact?
I don't think that the question of your humanity is changed in the slightest by the actual composition of your body.
You know, you might be smarter than I am and taller and more handsome and faster, but you're not more human than I am. The one thing we share equally is human equality.
We've been augmenting our capabilities for a very long time. It's just about extending capability where it doesn't occur naturally.
Active implantable devices will change what it means to be human more than we've ever seen before.
The future of humanity, the future of our bodies will be determined by technology.
There's a lot of parallels in science fiction and the kinds of things that we're seeing in the technology world.
All of this was so far beyond what I thought it would be. Yeah, mind blown.
What we see in the world of technology today is a very rapid increase in the degree of intelligence of our machines and our artifacts and of human society.
There is one other phenomenon. The closer you get to lifelike, the more creepy it gets. And seriously, if you've seen some of the robots that are being made in Japan that are being used in hotel lobbies and things like that, and apartment stores, department stores, they look like they're kind of dead bodies that are animated, you know, sort of the zombies. And so it's a very funny phenomenon that if it's too lifelike, it gets really disturbing.
This term AI just recently became very hot again, and we're sort of surprised by the interest that the society has placed in it in recent years.
Just to give you a little example, this year DeepMind, which is a company that was recently purchased by Google, demonstrated a learning system which in some sense resembles a newborn baby. It has absolutely no pre-programming of any kind for any task. And they expose it to the screen of an Atari video game. And within a few hours, it's able to play most of the Atari video games at a superhuman level. We don't actually know how it plays them. That's another interesting thing. These large deep learning networks are pretty much completely inscrutable. We don't know what they're doing, but we know that they're playing at superhuman levels across a wide range. So if you had a newborn baby that woke up on the day of its birth and by the afternoon was playing Atari video games at superhuman levels, you might be a little concerned about that.
I can't overemphasize enough that this is essentially all software. And there is no limit, there's no boundary on software. it is a limitless opportunity. Whatever you can imagine, you may in fact be able to program.
That artificial intelligence is being used for good across the planet, and I very much encourage, especially youngsters, get into this area. It is the one thing which is closest to working magic at the moment.
So we seem to be living in a world with smart devices where we're becoming less emotionally detached. I mean, you go to dinner, there's like a whole group of people that are on their phones.
You mean more emotionally detached?
More emotionally detached, yes. But at the same time, Ben, you're building robots that are basically increasing emotional attachment. So where are we going, like human to human, human to robot, robot to robot relationships? I mean, where's this going?
Well, where it's going is the device is going inside our heads. And I think ultimately technology can make us much more emotionally connected. If I have a cranial implant and he has one, we can beam thoughts back and forth to each other directly.
Right now we just have these clumsy words.
Yeah, we can be much more connected than we are right now.
AI's growing expertise at image recognition is also being harnessed by IBM to train Watson on retinal scans.
1 in 3 diabetics have associated eye disease, but only about half of these diabetics get regular checks. We know that with diabetes, the majority of vision loss is actually preventable if timely treatment is instigated. And so that if we can tap into that group, you're already looking at potentially incredible improvement in quality of life for those patients.
How could something like that happen?
You could have a situation where you have a smartphone application, you take a retinal selfie, if you like. That then is uploaded to an AI platform, analysed instantly, and then you have a process by which instantly you're known to have high risk or low risk disease. How long does it take to analyse a single retinal image using the platform?
Very close to real time, so it's in a matter of seconds.
I mean, this is obviously very, very early days, but the hope is that one day these sorts of technologies will be widely available to everyone for this sort of self-analysis.
Just like law, AI might one day enable patients to DIY their own expert diagnosis and treatment recommendations.
Some doctors will absolutely feel threatened by it, but I'd come back to the point that, you want to think of it from the patient's perspective. So if you're an oncologist sitting in the clinic with your patient, the sorts of things that you're dealing with is things like giving bad news to patients. And I don't think patients want to get bad news from a machine. So it's really that ability to have that intelligent assistant who's up to date and providing you with the information that you need and providing it quickly.
We like to use the term augmented intelligence. I think one interesting way to think about this is, I mentioned 50,000 oncology journals a year. Now, if you're a clinician trying to read all of those 50,000 oncology journals, that would mean you'd need about 160 hours a week just to read the oncology articles that are published today. Watson's ability to process all of this medical literature and information and text is immense. It's 200 million pages of information in seconds.
Wow. Need a bit of work on myself then.
IBM is just one of many companies promoting the promise of AI in healthcare. But for all these machine learning algorithms to be effective, they need lots of data. Lots of our private medical data.
In my conversations with my patients and the patient advocates that we've spoken to, they certainly want the privacy protected, but I think it's actually a higher priority for them to see this data being used for the public good.
But once it has all the data, could this intelligent assistant ultimately disrupt medicine's centuries-old hierarchy?
They should have more general practitioners and less of the specialty. So doctors, they'll have more time to have a better relationship with you. Maybe they'll be talking about your overall health rather than waiting for you to come in with symptoms. And if they do have to, analyze an X-ray and look for a disease, they'll have a computer to do that. They'll check what the computer does, but they'll be pretty confident that the computer's going to do a good job.
We started off talking about jobs. But somehow artificial intelligence forces us to also think about what it means to be human, about what we value and who controls that. So here we are on the precipice of another technological transformation. The last industrial revolution turned society upside down. It ultimately delivered greater prosperity and many more jobs, as well as the 8-hour day and weekends. But the transition was at times shocking and violent. The question is, can we do better this time?
We don't realise that the future is not inevitable. The future is the result of the decisions we make today. These technologies are morally neutral. They can be used for good or for bad. There's immense good things they can do. They can eliminate many diseases. They can help eliminate poverty. They can tackle climate change. Equally, the technology can be used for lots of bad. It can be used to increase inequality. It can be used to transform warfare. It can be used to make our lives much worse. We get to make those choices.